Welcome, I'm TW. Blessing and cursing oneself. Let's start with blessing. Blessing start with the thoughts that comes in and the intention of that thought. Remember this. Look at this carefully what I'm saying. A thought comes with its own agenda. Look at it carefully before you jump to any conclusion. Because a thought comes in with its own idea within that thought. And you think about that thought as it goes through the thinking process. It gathers all the information that need to be gathered, and then you got to make a decision on that thought. And that thought, once you make the decision, then you can take action. And this decision is the idea of that thought. And then you can bring it out into existence, where you see it in a physical form. Whether you becoming that thing or you producing a product that is that thought. The blessing begins at the beginning when that thought arises in the mind. And once you can see that thought and see what the intention of that thought is, then you can realize right then and there if it's a blessing for you or a curse for you. Because you got to realize right there that you're the one who is going to allow that thought to be sown in the mind. And once that thought enter, you're giving that thought accommodation within you. That's the seed planting within you. And after the seed is planted, then it's going to germinate, it's going to grow. That seed is coming into impregnate you to develop that thought into an idea for a decision to be made and for action to be taken, and bring that out into existence on the external world. So a thought is in the mental space, and once you can catch this thought at the beginning, then you have the power over this thought to guide this thought in the direction you want this thought to go. Because remember, a thought comes in and it's going to use you to accomplish what it got to accomplish. I said use you. So look at this carefully. Because we, on the other hand, yes, we're using the thought, but the thought is also using us to get into existence. Because these are forces. A thought is a power. A thought is a source of energy that's looking to come into existence on the exterior. Look right around you. If you don't believe what I just said, look right around you. Look at all the building, all the structures, all the ability of man with engineering and the technical development of man. This is coming from a thought. This was just once a thought in someone's mind. Look at it carefully. That's the reason why I'm saying a thought comes in and it's going to use you to accomplish what it got to accomplish. So the blessing here is you allowing or accommodating or giving rest or giving room for that thought within you. Because that thought, once it comes in and you start developing, it start to take its root within you, you gonna be spending your time and spending your energy and spending whatsoever money you have to spend to develop this thought. The idea of this thought will be moving you to accomplish what it comes to accomplish. Any profession that you're in, or look around you, any profession that's there was just once a thought of that person becoming that profession. And that person put in the time and the effort into studying and knowing that profession. And at the end, they become whatsoever that at the end, they become whatsoever that profession is. Whether it's the mechanic, the dentist, or the lawyer, the doctor, whatever it is. And that's right there. Look at what you're bringing in, what you're accommodating as a thought. Because there is an asset there and there's a liability there. And the asset is the blessing. The liability is the curse. Let's look at curse. It's the same process for curse. When you accommodate a terrible idea, a negative idea, then it's the same thing. It goes through the thinking process, and you got to make a decision on that thinking process. The thinking process I'm talking here, it's the idea that you're forming within yourself. And you make a decision, and then you take the action, and you bring that negative or that liability into existence in the external environment, and it have its effect. If you look around you, you can see people bringing terrible ideas that are liability to themselves and to other people right across the globe and right through history. You can see people coming with ideas that destroy millions of lives. Millions, not just one, not only their life, and it's still having that effect. It's a domino effect coming right down through history up until this moment. And there is people with good idea, which is blessing, having that same domino effect coming down until this moment in time. So a blessing and a curse, two different things. They have opposite effect. The curse have the opposite effect of blessing. And if you accommodate that negative thought or that dangerous thought, then it's the same process it goes through. And going through that process, you become that thing. And when you become that thing, then the action that that thing take within you, you carry it out into existence. For example, Hitler in this case. Look what that idea did in Europe and across the globe. It's still having its effect on mankind, whether we want to believe that or not. It's still with us today, and those people still exist today. Those kind of people thinking along that line still exist today. And just like how there is good and there is bad ideas which are up against each other all the time, then you can see this playing out right across the globe, as I say, happening right now, today. If you look closely enough, you can see that all that comes into existence is coming from a action that a decision was made on, which is coming from that idea, which is coming from the thinking process, which is coming from the thought that comes into place. So the thought at the beginning is where it's at. Because if it's a blessing in the beginning, it will be a blessing in the end. And if it's a curse in the beginning, believe you me, it's going to be a curse in the end. So this is the way you create your blessing, and this is the way you create your curse. Because if the thought is a terrible thought, this thought can imprison you at the end. It can take your own life at the end. And if it's a blessing, it gives you more life when you bring it into existence. It does not imprison you. But the negative thought give a negative product. Fear. Let's look at fear in this context too. Because fear is also a thought. And if you accommodate that fear within you, then it have its effect. And sometimes the effect is immediate. And I say this to point out this. Just like our fear have its thought that fast on you, where you can get goosebump, or whether you gotta jump, or whether you scream because of this fear. The speed of the effect of fear is the speed of thoughts on you, on your body, on your thinking, and what you bring out into existence. Because sometimes these things happen in milliseconds. It doesn't take a long time for these things to take their effect. But fear itself, you can take your time and eliminate fear each time that fear pops up into the mind. Once you know how to deal with it and realize it's just a thought. Once you realize that whatsoever come into the mind is just a thought, and you have the power to reject this thought, whether it's fear, or whether it's a curse, or whether it's negative, or whether it's a liability. You have the power right there as the thought enter into the mind and start the thinking process. Sometime you might not catch it when it comes in, but as you're going through the process, at some point you might realize, oh, this is what I'm bringing into existence. Is this really good for me? Is this good for the environment that I'm in? Is it good for my family? Is it good for my friend? Is it good for my co-worker? Is it good for my community? And if you're looking at a thought from that perspective, then you can make adjustment right there. You can stop it right there, or you can modify it right there. You have the power within you to do that. And if you realize as a thought comes in and what it's bringing into you, and you can modify it right at the beginning, or give it accommodation and let it take its course within you, because you know whatever it's bringing in, it's a blessing, then at the end you don't have to worry about anything coming into existence in that sense. But if you're unaware of what you're bringing in, if you're unaware within yourself, within the mind, within the thinking process, then you can pull all sort of liability into your life without even knowing what you're doing. A lot of people create their own prison for themselves, as I say, because you create your own blessing and you create your own curse in this way by bringing in thoughts or accommodating thoughts that are good and that are not good. That's our blessing and that is a curse. That's an asset and that's a liability. You make that decision to bring these things in. I want you to stop for a moment and think about what you just hear, what I just said. Because if you understand this, if you bring some awareness into your creative space, if you understand this, you can avoid a lot of suffering in your life. You can eliminate a lot of unnecessary things in your life. Because with a little bit of awareness within you, you can see the activity that's taking place within you. You can see the creative force working within you. And once you recognize this, then it eliminates all the unnecessary stuff that's are useless in your life. And that way it will bring some peace into your creative space and within your own life. Just to recap, blessing and cursing oneself comes with the intention of those thoughts that you accommodate and that you allow to germinate within you. The thought that you let move in and take your energy, take your focus, and take your space. What kind of thoughts are those? The quality of those thoughts will give you the quality of the result. Look carefully at what you are accommodating and bringing into existence, because at some point you got to live in that existence and eat all these fruits that you have planted, that you have sown, that germinate, that grows into this fruit, that grows into this big tree that you got to live under, because you're the one cursing and blessing yourself by accommodating thoughts that are blessing or curse. Remember to bring some clarity and awareness into your creative space. 10 to 12 deep breaths can get you started. Thanks for dropping by. Blessing be with you always. Peace.